Hitchcock, this is the first episode we've done of back to Blockbusted without a guest, I think.
Is it?
Other than the first episode, I guess.
And the one before that. And the one.
Yeah. But,
no, but
you know what?
Since the great revival of this show,
yeah,
it is the great official.
I have 2 guests lined up for the future. Hopefully,
I guess this is the only thing closest to a system we have where when a big movie comes out, it's just me and you. But then when we want to just talk, get someone else to come on.
That's good. So we have had who have we had? We've had Chris,
Jonathan.
Thank you. We've had Jonathan. Is that it? Did we have one other person?
That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we skipped last week just because we completely forgot.
We completely forgot. And then, but next
that's
week,
how dedicated we are.
Hopefully, we'll have Just Too Good from YouTube, who's a
Lego
Lego guy, but he's also got a podcast himself that he just interviewed Ralph the Movie Maker on.
Oh, good.
And then the next week, theoretically, we will have the ATZ show on. So that should be cool. I was just on the ATZ show's live stream just a couple hours ago. So that was fun.
Yeah, he's real cool.
Yeah.
Great YouTube channel. Good content. Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed. I rewatched I rewatched Your Name last night.
My name? Why?
Yeah, I rewatched Your Name. My name. Your name. It was your name about my name.
Yeah, that's on the watch list for the old Hitchcock over here.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to get you to watch it for forever, but it is quite a gem. I showed it to my sister.
You finally got her to watch it.
And she laughed at all the jokes about sex, and then didn't understand any of the story. That was her gist of it.
Oh, that's great.
It is somewhat high concept in terms of sci-fi. Not super high concept, but a little bit.
It's only a suit for us higher minds, in the film industry.
To be fair, you must have a very high IQ to understand Your Name, Japanese anime. Yeah. I'm on a path. I want to rewatch, or not rewatch. I want to watch the first time all the classic anime movies that people say are great that I've never watched, from Spirited Away to Howl's Moving Castle to Princess Mononoke to My Friend Totoro to all those ones.
Someone's done their research.
Oh yeah, those are the big names that I hear about a lot. The only other thing I've seen is Ponyo, which I do not like. So I don't know.
Okay, interesting.
Hopefully I'll like the rest.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that whole world.
Yeah. I didn't think I would be.
Dude. Weirds me out.
It did weird me out initially. But you just have to, I don't know, you have to settle into it.
You have to roll with it.
I like Your Name because it's got less weird stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it is a weird story, but it's just about human beings versus like lots of other anime movies have like a bunch of friggin' weird creatures and like tendrils and tentacles and stuff.
Okay.
That's my description of other anime movies.
Just add to the weirdness of that anime already is,
Yeah. But I loved Your Name so much. It's one of my favorite movies, so,
Good stuff. I'm gonna check it out soon. I got a big watch list that I'm hoping to knock through this summer.
Yeah.
I'll probably be watching like at least a film a day.
Oh.
That would be the ideal.
Maybe I'll try
world.
for that. Yeah. The problem is balancing making videos about films.
Yeah, exactly.
With watching films that then I can make videos about.
Exactly.
So, I think
you got to stay in that right mindset.
Yeah.
If you're watching if you're trying to make a video about Harry Potter, you can't all of a sudden get into that.
No, you got to get in the Harry Potter mood. That's the thing. Yeah. I think it's been. I mean, since we've talked, I also saw Deadpool 2, which.
Oh yeah, you have.
Guess we haven't talked about.
No, we haven't.
I enjoyed it. It's got some crude humor, some stuff that I wasn't a big fan of. Just as a wholesome homeschooled lad, but it also had some morals. It was also a little bit emotional, a little bit sincere. I enjoyed some of that, and it was very funny and very genre breaking. There's a bit where a lot of people die that I thought was hilarious.
Awesome.
And the end credits scene was the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was so good.
All right.
So
I think you told me about it. I think you might have told me about the end credits scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I told you in private, off the record, if you will.
Offline.
Off the chain. Yeah.
Yes.
This is my favorite tweet of the week. This is a recurring
it's a new segment
on
here
the
on Blockbusted.
podcast.
Yeah.
Favorite tweet of the week. My favorite tweet of the week is the most cutting thing you can say is, "Who's this clown?" Because it implies that A, they're a clown, and B, they're not even one of the better known clowns.
Roasted, man.
I love it. That's a good tweet.
That's real nice. That's real good.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh, here's my favorite tweet.
Oh.
If you will. Which one? I'm just scrolling through all my liked tweets. Oh yeah. I'm gay, straight, bi. Kind of the leader in here. As you can see, I'm made of rocks, but don't let them intimidate you unless you're made of scissors. Just a little rock paper scissors joke for you. So good.
I've been practicing my Korg impression as of late.
Ooh.
Do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear my Korg impression?
Yeah, let the world know.
I feel
Expose yourself.
I do it to myself privately. That sounded weird, but I do my Korg impression.
I do it to myself privately, and it sounds great. But then
great.
I do it to someone else, and it's just awful.
And then I feel like it's bad. But you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna shame myself in front of everyone. I'm gonna do my Korg impression. All right. Hey man, I'm kind of a leader in here. As you can see, I'm made of rocks, but you don't need to be afraid of me unless you're made of scissors. Just a funny little rock paper scissors joke for you. I tried to start a revolution, but I didn't print enough pamphlets, so the only people who showed up were my mum and her boyfriend, who I hate. What else? What's the other quote? Oh,
yeah, what's the other line?
She says, I'm looking for Korg, and he says, who's asking? I mean, I know you're asking, but is it anyone else, or is it just you? That's my Korg impression. It's the Kiwi accent. They've got a bit of a intonation at the end, like that. They rise at the end of the voice, and then they bring it down. It's real funny. They've got a bit of a rhythm there, going there. Like it's Kiwi. I'm talking like Taika Waititi. That's all. That's it. I'm done.
That's real nice, man. Real nice. I like it. I'm a fan. Such a good voice, man.
I can't wait to look back on that in a year and be ashamed. Can't wait.
Be just like, what the heck was I doing, man? Come on.
I already do that with last week's episode.
Exactly. Oh man, especially editing these things, I go through. I'm just like, what the frick, Drew?
What were
like,
you
come
doing?
On.
Yeah.
Man.
Anyway.
That's just life. You know?
Weren't we? Don't we have a topic today?
We are. Yes, we're doing something.
We're gonna talk about Solo, right?
Yeah. This big not so big indie film.
Oh yeah.
It came out. It's barely making its money back. You know, it's real struggling.
I guess you could say that it is a struggling flop of a blockbuster. You know, it's people are acting like I've seen all these headlines. They're like, it's a colossal failure, and I'm like,
yeah,
all right, settle down. Like, it did have a very underwhelming box office weekend, but like,
yeah, when you put it up against every other Star Wars movie, which has done like.
Right.
Record-breaking things.
It's still going to make its money back. It's still going to do fine. Like, they have nothing to worry about, really. It's just not...
It's not going to flop like Blade Runner.
The phenomenon that they would have hoped, you know.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. Hitchcock...
Oh, yeah. You tweeted that tweet out. What was it? It was... Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, so some news site said like Solo makes a loose $114 million or something, and then someone quoted that. It's like, I could use me a loose $114 million.
Right.
Like, come on, that's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's definitely making it back, but
right. You know,
yeah, Solo.
Going into the movie, you and I were both extremely unenthusiastic. I saw it Thursday. Yeah. And I was just sighing through all the trailers and like, oh, here we go. They had like a freaking like between every trailer, the Grinch from Illumination Animations, the Grinch would come up on the screen and he would be like,
oh my word.
Oh no, not another trailer. That's what would happen. I'm not even kidding. Like literally between every trailer, he's like against a white backdrop and he'd just come up and he'd make an unfunny joke where he's like, are these trailers done yet? And then the next trailer would roll. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. So I was already in a bad mood. And then I was like sighing. And then the first like title, like it says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And someone like snaps a picture of the screen with a flash on their camera.
The frick.
And someone else in the theater yelled, hey, quit that douchebag. And then throughout the entire movie, like 5 other people took photos of the screen with the flash on their phone.
Really?
Which had never happened to me in a theater before.
Dang.
It was bizarre. But you know what was funny was that that was part of the indicator to me that when we first got into the theater, it seemed like everyone was very unenthusiastic. No one had like any like aura of like when you go see The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens, it was like, this is an event. This is a moment. Like you almost have like respect for the movie screen. You're like, this is there's some weight here. But with this, everyone was like just off the rails. No one cared. Everyone was like, whatever. But the funny thing was, it seemed like by the end, everyone had gained more respect again. Like, people were talking less and they were taking photos less, and then everybody clapped at the end of the movie. So I think the attitude may have changed. But
it definitely surprised me in a lot of ways, and I think the general public.
And you went on Sunday. You went the latest you could possibly go for an opening weekend. Because you
were
really
that
unenthused.
7:45 IMAX 2D, man.
Remember that time when you texted me, I'm only expecting it to give it a 3 stars at best?
I was. Yeah.
Yep. So if you can't tell, Drew and I both actually liked it quite a bit. We liked it a lot.
Yeah. It's done nothing but grow on me ever since I saw it last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the first trailer dropped, and I was like, dude, this looks great, But then it kind of just, as they released more trailers and TV spots, it kind of just fizzed out,
Yeah, you were the one excited for it early on, and I was the one saying,
the first. I still love that first trailer. I think it's great, but then it kind of just snuck up on me, and I was like, I was literally sitting in the theater, and Lucasfilm logo popped up. I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching the Star Wars now.
Right.
Okay. Let's buckle in and see what happens, But it was I was like, I had no expectations whatsoever. And so I think that
all of us
definitely
are
worked to the
little
advantage.
bit blockbustered out. Like it's been a busy couple of months, and
it's been
The Last Jedi only came out 6 months ago, and I think to me that's why it failed this week. I mean, it didn't fail, but that's why it underwhelmed this weekend.
Yeah.
I think if they'd waited until December to release this, it would be much bigger because people would have more of the hunger,
Even so close to Infinity War.
Yeah.
People are still just teetering off the Marvel hype.
Can you imagine that's them moving back Infinity War by 1 week was a smart move because I guarantee it would have made even less money if it had been crowded like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy, but yeah, I think I've come to the conclusion that if you go into this movie expecting to have a good time, just have fun with it. It's not a brilliant movie, but it's nowhere a bad movie. But if you go in it with that attitude, you're gonna come out enjoying it. Be pleasantly surprised. But if you go in wanting to be cynical towards it, you're gonna nitpick the heck out of this thing. You just hate it.
Right.
So there's definitely nitpicks, and there's definitely some things here and there
that are a little bit pandering. Yeah.
On the edge, and but I mean, I don't know. It didn't really take away from the film any for me.
Well, the thing is that people are like, here's the thing. People are like, lots of people are writing off this movie simply on premise alone, where, we don't objectively we don't need a Han Solo movie. The world didn't need this movie. We're fine without it. And that, many have commented, that's the case with every movie. We don't need any movie, But lots of people I've seen write it off because they're like, we don't need to see this story. And I'm like, that's a fine opinion to have. I would have had that opinion as well. But that doesn't mean that the movie can't still be good. That's not a criticism of the film. That's criticizing the film on premise alone. That's not,
which is ridiculous. It's annoying.
And then there's a lot of people who seemingly are against it for things that are intrinsic to what it would be. I've seen people Han and Chewie meeting. Oh my gosh, it's
well, they met. They met somewhere.
That's what this movie is.
Newsflash.
I get not wanting that in the first place, but you got it, and I think it was done better than it could have been.
And if you really don't want it, then don't go see this movie.
Right.
If you don't want it that much, I don't want to see where Han got his blaster, don't go see it,
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, and I think people don't like that Disney's bringing back Star Wars. Okay, that's fine. You can't do anything about that. Tons of kids now are loving it, okay? It's bringing a whole new audience that,
right.
And it's like that's just not a valid point. Like you can't just say that and then just every movie from the Return of the Jedi on is bad because they're just alone bringing it back. It's like, come on, they're good films.
And if you want to go down that road, we didn't need The Empire Strikes Back. Like, A New Hope.
No, we didn't.
Is a fine movie. We didn't need New Hope.
They don't need
either.
anything.
Yeah. Like, so I think you have to judge a movie based on the merits of what it accomplishes given the premise, not the premise itself. I did think that most of the stuff that could have been awful was handled pretty well. There are a couple moments here and there that are like, he's like, you're Han Solo. Or the bit with Chewie and Han leaning over the side of the spaceship, and he's like, you're going to need a nickname because I'm not saying Chewbacca.
Exactly.
And I'm like, this reminds me of the scene in Fantastic Four, 2014, 2015, when Michael B. Jordan's Human Torch says, he says, we're going to need a name. How about Fantastic? I mean, it cuts or whatever. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I there were some moments like that I didn't like, but there were an equal amount of moments that I thought, wow, that's surprisingly good.
I feel like I thought it was going to be a whole lot of just references to the future, and it does, it references the future films quite a bit, but it does it, I feel, in a much more subtle, passing way, It's not
mostly,
for the most part. I mean, I'd have to rewatch it just to catch up on it. But for the most part, what I saw, it kind of it came like, oh yeah, I can relate that, and it kind of moved on.
Yeah.
It wasn't like R2 and C-3PO show up, or like in Rogue One, they run into the dude that runs into Luke and Obi and Cantina on A New Hope.
Or, I know an old man in the desert of Tatooine.
Yeah. Something like that, and it wasn't directly like on the nose stuff. I feel. I mean, there's some of it, but I feel for the most part it was handled very well, and it kept you in the Star Wars universe. That you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is Han Solo. He's part of this original trilogy. And I thought it was overall handled well. And
there were a lot of subtler. I mean, the things that were subtler were the things that were their best. They've done. For sure. To their credit, Disney has done a wonderful job tying these movies together as they've gone along, and they really have gotten people who know their stuff and referenced things from the extended universe novels and stuff that aren't even canon anymore. Brought in some of that. Brought in stuff from video games. Brought in not shied away from the prequels. I mean, that's been something that has been a pleasant surprise. They have Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa in Rogue One, and the Mon Mothma actress from the deleted scene in Revenge of the Sith as her in Rogue One. You've also got in this movie, I mean, loads of prequel stuff. From Mandalorian armor in Paul Bettany's character's office, and there's a ton of stuff in that office, like
so cool.
Tons of stuff. I think even the idol from Indiana Jones is in there.
That's a beautiful yacht right there, man.
Yeah, and Darth Maul, obviously, and then several other references to prequel films.
But Maul is played by the same guy that did the prequels.
Yeah, Ray Park, and then the voice was the guy who did the Clone Wars animated series.
So good.
And then there are lots of little subtle things that I don't know how much work they've put into tying these things together, or if they kind of fall into place or whatever. But they're supposed to be on Mimban, in the trenches scene at the beginning, and they're the something and something Legion out on Mimban, and in the Star Wars Rebels TV show, there's a radio host who's and this song goes out to the something and something Legion out on Mimban, slugging it out in the mud or whatever.
Yeah, the 24th or something.
And it's
224th,
wow, that attention to detail is great.
It's super cool. I was sitting next to my friend while watching it, and he's a huge fan of the Clone Wars as well as the animated series of Star Wars, and so he was picking up on all those kind of references.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he's like, "Dude, you would have liked that so much more if you'd just seen the Clone Wars,"
Yeah.
So it definitely has that sense of being very tied into all that Clone War or no, not pre, after Clone Wars era,
Yep.
all that original trilogy stuff. So,
yeah,
really cool.
And it's
Huge
not
fan
stuff
of
that detracts from the story or distracts from it.
Mm.
It's not them bumping into the guy from the cantina in the street. It's just organic things that would be referenced.
Exactly.
Tie
See,
it
that's
to the
why I
universe.
felt like, yeah, that's what the references were for the most part, and it worked because of that.
Yeah.
Much better than it did in Rogue One.
As well as, what was I going to say? One of my favorite things is that in the 90s, I think, Lando had a 3-book series. It was a series of 3 books, and the title of each one is referenced in the movie. Every time we see Lando, like, playing Sabacc or whatever, and he's, like, telling a story to... Or I think the first time is he's playing Sabacc. Second time is when he's, like, doing his captain's log in the ship.
Yeah.
And then the third time is when he's playing Sabacc again at the end. Each time he's, like, telling a story of his adventures, and it's, like, the title of one of those extended universe books is what he's talking about.
Dang, that's so cool,
yeah,
dude.
so lots
that.
of, like, lots of great attention to detail there that I'm shocked that people aren't more... Like, that hardcore fanboys aren't more like, oh, my God, like,
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, this...
Yeah, man.
I feel like...
It's
there
total
is fan pandering. There is fan service
works.
here, but I don't feel like it's pandering. Because, like, pandering implies that you're...
Pandering is like in Rogue One, they pan down and there's R2 and C-3PO staring out at the ships.
Ridiculous.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? We know R2-D2 and 3PO are, like, in this universe. Like, why you have to show them? We're not here to see that.
Well, fan pandering implies that you're sacrificing the actual story for, just to make the audience feel like, I recognize that! But,
TIE Fighters!
Right, Star Destroyers!
I clapped!
And yet, this I didn't feel like did that, at least not for the most part.
Yeah.
There is stuff that's, like, emphasized, like the Millennium Falcon when he sees it for the first time. And that would be... I was thinking back to this. I was thinking, what would it be like? Because what, especially Rogue One and this have made me curious to see is, like, what would it look like for Disney? I'm not saying they should do this because they shouldn't, but what would it look like if they remade A New Hope now? Like, how would it fit into that aesthetic? And would they just make it the same way and it would fit? Or would they have to, like, shoot? I mean, it would obviously be shot differently and everything. It would feel different. But the thing that I was thinking about that would be totally different if they remade it, that would be unfortunate, is that the reason that so many of the great things in the original trilogy are great is because they're not emphasized. Like, the Millennium Falcon is just like, this is a piece of junk, and then they fly around in it. Like, there's no dramatic reveal shot and everything of the Millennium Falcon. Look, it's the Millennium Falcon. Because back when they made the movie, they didn't know it was going to be classic. They were like, this is the ship that they're going to use, Yeah. But if Disney remade it now, they would be like, Luke would come out and there'd be a dramatic silhouette shot, and then it'd be like, what? It's the Millennium Falcon. Like all kinds of stuff like that.
Sure.
That would imply the context and everything. Where, and that's kind of what they did in Solo as well, obviously, where they make everything kind of dramatic because we know where it's going to go and stuff. But at the same time, like, I can't imagine a world where they wouldn't do that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it's just it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, we like, it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't, just because,
right?
Like, we're seeing Solo because we know who Han Solo is,
Right.
It's because we know the character. People are obviously interested.
And see, that's again my point, is that, like, I think this idea could only go a couple of ways, and I think they went the best way with it, and especially given the behind the scenes trouble. I mean, this came out so much more coherent than it could have been. It's more coherent
especially
than Rogue
compared
One.
to, like, Rogue One, which had, that had some behind the scenes issues,
some totally,
as well, right?
Bizarre stuff.
Yeah, like some reshoots, and I mean, you could tell too that it was just like there's different directors, like different opinions coming in. This way, like different directions it was wanting to go. Right. But this felt like very, even with like the them cutting the dudes that were originally planned to direct it, and putting in Ron Howard, it's still like I was shocked that it felt as as coherent and like just well directed as it did. You know, it didn't feel. I mean, I have to rewatch it to really say this, but on the first watch, it did not feel choppy at all. It felt like it was tonal wise, it was very consistent throughout the whole entire thing. You know, which is just. I mean, it is like crazy that with as much trouble as it did have, it came out extremely well.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people complain about the tone, that like it goes from dark and gritty to humorous or whatever. But I thought it maintained a. I thought it maintained a low. I mean, it was just adventurous, you know, for the most part. It was. I mean, there are stakes and intense situations, but there's also an era.
I mean, that's Han's character, though. You know, I mean, he. I mean, that's like a dark situation like that. He tries to break it with a witty joke or something. You know, like they have the dudes pinned, and he's like, you know, see that ship right there? You know, I got millions of dudes on there. You know, all I have to do is raise my hand. You know, so I mean, it's like, I mean, that's just Han. You know, and another thing was cool to see, like. I mean, you could totally tell that the crew that Han got with at the beginning were total, like, influencers on his character now, because they were doing stuff that, you know, you could see Han taking on and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to start doing that, you know, which was, it was cool just to get some of that backstory,
right.
So.
Did you think that Han did you think his character was interesting? Like, I've heard a lot of people say that, like, he has no arc, and it's just about, like, him being a cardboard cutout of the Han Solo that we know or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, what did you think of him?
I mean, I thought he worked. Like I said, I'd like to see it again, but like, I mean, I thought he worked completely fine. I guess, yeah, he doesn't. I think Kira was definitely more of an interesting character than him. You know, just with her, like, you don't quite know what's going on.
Right.
I didn't get the sense that he was a cardboard cutout, no. Like, I felt like it gave him a bit more depth than, like, he had in A New Hope, you know?
This was the first Star Wars movie where my dad got out of the theater and he said, this was the first Star Wars movie where I cared about the characters. That's what he said.
Really? Wow.
My dad knows, like, he's such a clueless Star Wars fan. He asked me after that, he said, so when does Lando get the purple lightsaber? And I was like, oh, no.
Man, we're all wondering that, you know.
Yeah, but
we're all waiting for that moment.
I thought it added to Han's character. I thought that it made some of his decisions in Empire more rich in context. Again, it's not something that we needed. It's not like they were shallow to begin with, but it did give you some more context as to why he would make certain decisions. Yeah. And I did like his. I do think there's some flaws here and there because, like, we don't really get why he would. She goes, I know you're really the good guy. And he's like, I'm not. I'm a terrible person. And we don't really get why he would want to say that. Like,
sure.
Like, why does he want to be an outlaw and a bad person, you know?
Yeah. Sure.
But, and some have said that, like, the fact that he so easily donates the coaxium, whatever, to the rebels for a good cause at the end kind of takes away from the fact that that's his arc in A New Hope is to, you know, he takes his money and leaves, but then he comes back to help Luke. And that's a fair point. You could say, like, you know, it was in him all along. It just sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. You could say something like that. Both are fair excuses. But what I liked most, what I thought gave him the most depth, was the relationship with Kira and his sort of trust issues and everything.
Real solid.
I liked that he was sort of this over-attached boyfriend who like was really after her and he was really naive and too blind to see that she really wasn't interested in him anymore, honestly. And that was, I thought, a really interesting dynamic to see play out. And I liked his sort of sorrow at the end as she leaves and his realization that he is alone. He is solo, if you will. And the implication that, like, Chewie's then there for him, and that's kind of how they develop such a bond.
Sure.
Yeah,
I thought it set up his, like, leading into the future Han that we do know in the original. I thought it set that up well. I thought, for the most part, it stuck with his character. I mean, I guess I didn't really pick up on the whole selling the coaxium thing, being the good guy all of a sudden, you know. Mm-hmm. I didn't really pick up on that.
I did find it a little bit odd that he was so willing to do it all of a sudden. I mean, I guess they were sort of threatened, like, under semi-gunpoint, but, you know.
Yeah.
Then he's like, I'll do a scheme to give it to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know you were that dedicated, but
That's
okay.
Cool. Nice little scheme, though.
I believed Woody Harrelson's action in that situation far more, where he's like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm out.
And then he, you know, obviously.
But he's not really out. You know?
Were you surprised? What you said last night that you were there were a lot of twists and turns you didn't expect. What were those things?
Yeah, I think the only one that I like when Beckett left, you know, I didn't really expect him. You know, it leads you to think that Kira was actually the one that betrayed him, and that's what I was thinking in that moment when he's thinking the coaxium was fake or whatever. You know, Paul Bettany's character. I'm like, oh, Kira betrayed him, and then Bettany walks in. You know, and I think just mainly that third act alone, I feel like it kept twisting and turning with both Kira character, Paul's character, and then even Beckett. You know, it just kept. I don't know. It kept you on the toes a little, you know. I wasn't
double crossing. Yeah, it felt very Raiders of the Lost Ark a little bit.
And then even with Han just straight up blasting Beckett at the end, you know, like shoot, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It'll be interesting to see if that holds up once I don't have that tension or suspense.
I kind of expected all the stuff with Beckett to happen. I thought he was a pretty predictable character.
Okay.
And. I mean, he was fine.
Well, I guess you're just smarter than me.
But he was just Woody Harrelson playing Woody Harrelson. Yeah.
Sure.
Kira, I really loved. I thought she was a really nuanced character because she's not there to sabotage their mission. Like, she really is there hoping that they win, and she helps. And she does, I think, truly feel affection for Han. But she's more concerned with fighting for her own power in the grand scheme of things and stuff. And so I thought that made her a lot more of an interesting character than if she was definitely
probably the best character.
Yeah.
Just as you could tell there's so much more going on. Like even from that first scene, you could tell by the time Han met up with her in the second, like on the yacht on Paul Bettany's yacht, you could tell something was off. You know, which was. Like, did you pick up on that? Like, immediately when I'm like, something's not right, man.
When I first saw it in the theater...
You better watch out. She's
like,
much
almost
different.
all of her scenes, I was thinking, something's a little off here. And I wasn't sure... I was thinking in my head, if it turns out that she was just a normal hero the whole time, I'm going to be really mad, because all those scenes where something felt off will mean nothing.
Yeah.
So I was glad that the scenes where it felt a little off turned out to be foreshadowing that, you know, she's got ulterior motives. Yeah. Yeah, I liked her sort of double cross and everything, and I liked Han's attachment to her a lot. I also loved the droid revolt.
Oh gosh,
that was the most hilarious thing when the droid is like stomping on the buttons. He's just standing there, and I laughed so hard. And I really loved L3 as a character. I thought she was hilarious.
She annoyed the heck out of me, man. Oh my gosh, I was not a fan.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it so much. It was so funny. I don't know why. Why? Like, I guess people think that she's supposed to be like that. Star Wars is really taking a stand for the droids now, or something. But like, I thought that was just
equality.
Comedic. Like, I don't know. I thought it was funny.
It's fine. It worked. The whole Lando thing, though, with her.
Oh, I liked it.
What?
Yeah, I liked it.
You like that?
It's freaking weird, but I liked it. I believed it.
It's real weird, man.
Yeah.
I guess Lando's a weird dude, though.
That was probably the funniest laugh for me, was when she was like, "It works." Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then there's the implication that the Falcon, when C-3PO says like your ship has such a peculiar dialect, like there's the implication that it's rude because of it's got L3 in it.
Interesting.
So just imagine this droid that fought for equality is now trapped inside a ship for the rest of her existence.
Symbolism.
Wow.
Symbolism.
Wow. That's actual like tragedy.
Oh jeez. I legit forgot, like, now that we're talking about L3 and Lando, I legit forgot Donald Glover was in this till Lando showed up. I was like, oh yeah, Donald Glover, Lando.
What'd you think of him?
This. I thought he was very good. You know, I mean, didn't get a whole lot of him. I thought we were gonna get more of him, but
yeah,
I thought he fit Lando perfectly. You know.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I want to see more. There were a couple moments when he did feel like he was doing a bit of an impression of Billy D. Williams.
Sure.
But I, for the most part, he was really solid.
I felt like
he's got that suave charisma. I liked his sort of talking down to Han. You know.
I felt the similar thing though with the dude that played Han. You know, I felt like at the beginning it was a bit choppy. He was just trying to do a hardcore impression, but
I feel like he wasn't doing an impression at all, and that's what I liked. No? Like, I didn't even feel like there were some moments where I forgot he was playing Han.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that's a good thing because he was playing a younger version of Han who's a lot more naive, as we've talked about, a lot more headstrong, and less headstrong in some ways.
Yeah, sure.
And cocky and whatever. And so to people saying like he's just Han from A New Hope, I felt like he was a completely different Han that was much younger and less wise to the world, you know, and less hardened. You know, he's still got like this romanticized version of love in his head.
He's not quite sure who he is yet. You know?
Yeah.
So
and even their relationship, I bought even from the first scene when like they get separated in the boarding center or whatever.
Yeah, that was good. Sure.
We barely even know them, and I was already like, "Oof, man, that's tough."
Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did do a great job of just adding some emotional depth to Han in A New Hope, you know, and him going after Leia so hard, you know, and all that, you know, which I did appreciate that, you know.
You know what else someone commented on I saw was that
oh good, here we go.
They said it was creepy. I don't think it's creepy. It's just that maybe Rey reminds Han of Kira, because she's a brunette British white girl, and who is a scavenger and dreams of going off her planet and seeing space.
Yeah, I can see that.
And maybe he's like he wants to help her because of that.
People thinking he's hitting on her. Is that what they're saying?
People were like, it's creepy because it's an old man and he reminds her of her past love and blah blah blah. And I was like, no, it's just he sees she's in a similar situation.
Yeah.
And he wants to help her.
He's got a soft spot for that kind of life.
It does become slightly creepy when he says, "We need to bring on some more crew, Rey. I'd like to invite you aboard."
Okay then. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought, I mean, you and I have talked about this. I thought it was gorgeously shot. I really liked how it was shot. So, all the backlighting and kind of westernized, everything felt so dramatic and pulpy.
Pulpy, okay.
Even people are complaining about, like, the dark areas and whatever. I liked it. I liked, I like that we're seeing a new corner of the galaxy that's not like shiny Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
You know?
And even like, the cinematography is great. The lighting, all that's great. But also design. Like the costume, the effects and all the puppet design.
Production design.
It all looks phenomenal. You know, I think it's some of the best that we've seen in all of Star Wars, you know? And then same with the action. I thought the action was absolutely great. You know?
It all feels real, like that speeder chase and even the Kessel run. I mean, all of it feels like it's real. And as much as I love The Last Jedi, there's a lot of stuff in that movie that does feel a little computery, you know? Like even the last fight with Luke and Kylo does feel a little green screeny at times.
Oh, for sure. This felt like, down to earth.
They were there on that beach and in those mountains and everything, you know? It was
which is great.
Legit.
And
yeah.
I know. And oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Gosh dang it.
Got some.
Oh yeah, no, like it. I mean, not once is the Force mentioned, you know, which is another. I mean, it was so like refreshing in a way to see just a Star Wars movie just focused on like just the blaster, like this none of this Force weird stuff, you know. I mean, I think the Force does have a purpose in like the trilogies and stuff, you know. It needs to be there, but it was super nice to see it just like taking a step back from the whole Force on lightsaber world,
well,
you know. And that was like our hope for like
to be
Rogue
very
One.
familiar with the Force by New Hope, so you really can't, and that was a good thing. I have seen a lot of people being like, you know, this is just more of the same and everything, and I'm like, no, I felt like this showed us a completely different corner of the galaxy. This smugglers under the table crime syndicates kind of land of lawlessness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like they saw like the reaction to Rogue One, and like, I mean, I like the whole Force, the whole Force thing that's literally forced into the movie at times. You know, it's kind of like, well, like, just like why? You know, I felt like they kind of reeled it back, took it back a step with this one. You know, and I feel like they heard the criticism of Rogue One, because like Rogue One, yeah, it's fine and. Okay,
even though everyone's
like
favorite scene in Rogue One apparently is the Darth Vader hallway scene.
Exactly.
Because that's so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, I felt like this, just comparing the two, this did it so much better. It was so much more contained and its own thing. And, like, even, like, the effects and action in Rogue One, it's great, you know? But, like, this outdid it, I think, you know, by a mile. So.
Yeah. Also, Paul Bettany as Dryden Voss.
Oh,
far better than Ben Mendelsohn as Orson Krennic by a long shot. So good.
Oh, by a huge shot. Yeah, actually intimidating, you know?
Yeah.
Which I guess, I mean, Krennic's not supposed to be intimidating, you know? He's kind of, you're supposed to feel for him, I guess. But
right. I look forward to, I feel like the ending of this was totally setting up a sequel. I mean, totally.
Oh, man. You mentioned the freaking trilogy thing to me, and now I'm going to freak the rest of my life if we do not get a trilogy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like that might be what they're trying to go for. Now, whether they do now, based on the supposed failure of this, is up in the air. But I feel like, I mean, with the Kira kind of cliffhanger of sorts and the Maul cliffhanger.
Like, come on.
Like, that totally feels to me like.
I mean, people were pissed that Maul died as easily as he did.
Yeah.
You know?
Now,
it's like.
They might continue the storyline in, like, the Boba Fett movie or whatever. You could have Han Solo come back in that and the whole Maul storyline be in that somehow. Yeah. Of course, Han Solo is not really supposed to see a lightsaber until New Hope, but, you know. But I feel like that would work. And what excites me more about that is this movie got all the generic origin stuff out of the way, from meeting Chewie and getting the Falcon and getting his name and all this stuff. Where if they do a sequel, I would really love to see another Han adventure after all of that stuff has been set up, because I thought he was a good Han. Alden Ehrenreich was good, and I thought that this corner of the galaxy was something that I'd definitely like to see more of, you know, rather than more Republic, Rebels, First Order stuff, you know.
You got Empire.
Right.
The galaxy.
How about the implication that the Empire uses John Williams' Imperial March in their marketing?
I did catch up on that. That was I was immediately like, okay then.
And it was in major key too. It was like
that
dun, 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 or something
like that. Yeah, it was much more like, come join us, you know.
That was fun. But who composed it in this universe? Who was the composer of the music?
Exactly.
That's scary.
John Williams, man. Maybe he's part of the.
He's off partying on Dryden Voss's yacht.
Yeah, exactly.
That was probably my favorite joke in the movie, was when you see the gold lady singing and then it pans down and there's the green dude in a canister and he's singing too. That was so funny.
That was real nice. I mean, that's just like straight up that's just weird Star Wars, you know? Yeah. I love that, you know, several new.
There was so much more boldness with the creature designs and everything here. Yeah, I really loved it. There was a lot of creativity. And my favorite thing was the Oliver Twist inspired opening, with all the orphans scavenging in the streets and everything, and then the blue lit sewers, and then the puppet of the you know, the what is it, Lady Proxima or whatever?
Yeah, the worm.
That was so fun. The
water worm.
I was just like, we're getting this. This is like some Labyrinth Dark Crystal level stuff. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it was just fun, dude. Yeah. It felt very just.
I love cheesy 80s-esque puppets.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Super good. what if they did like the whole Crimson Dawn thing was super cool, I thought.
Yeah.
You know, with like I never
See,
put that.
He named it Crimson Dawn because his skin is
crimson.
red.
Yeah,
Get it?
Exactly. I was like,
it's like if I
so
named
good.
my company White
Dawn.
White. Yeah.
White Dawn.
Just named
man.
it White Dawn.
White Dawn. But no, I mean they could totally like follow this up. Like if they don't go with another Han Solo movie, just like go with another Boba Fett movie, or go with like a Boba Fett movie, but have Crimson Dawn included, or something. You know, like the fact that I don't know. I mean, it might have been Crimson Dawn might have been established in the Clone Wars or even Rebels for them.
But all the other crime syndicates were like all these other crime syndicates, including like the Hutt cartel and everything, were established, and and the idea that Darth Maul lives was obviously established in the Clone Wars.
Sure.
He also is killed in Star Wars Rebels by Obi-Wan Kenobi finally.
He is.
So the unfortunate truth is that they've already done that in the cartoon, so we can't see it on screen. But and that's supposed to happen like 5 years after this or something like that. But, you know, that's still enough time that you could give him a bit of a convincing arc as a,
I know.
as some
I mean,
sort of villain.
even if you do a Maul movie, like people are gonna freak, you know. But I mean, Star Wars is gonna be shoved down their throats the rest of our lives. Might as well accept it, and vote for what we want. You know.
What do you think of the idea of a Boba Fett movie? They've said that James Mangold, who's the Logan director, might do it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. I mean, after seeing this, I'm kind of like I'm not as against these movies as I was. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not against these side stories as, like Rogue One. I don't know. I loved it after when I first saw it. I'm not a fan of it now. It's fine. You know. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if I love it in a year. But
at the same time, I think we're applying our critical lenses from Rogue One to this. So like it definitely. I don't think it has the flaws that Rogue One had that we didn't see at that time. You know, it may have other flaws that we're not seeing now, but I felt like it was a cohesive story. I thought it was a better result than it could have been, especially given the subject matter, and that most of the kind of quote-unquote fan pandering was handled pretty well. Spare for a couple things.
I feel like a Boba Fett movie would work really well. Just because, I mean, we don't know a lot about Boba. You can't really do a lot of that fan pandering stuff, you know? I feel like he's much more just a character that we've heard of in the universe, you know?
Well, he's a dumb character, let's be real. He gets knocked into a pit by a blind man.
Oh, for sure.
But, I mean, again, it's a thing that we don't need, but if we're getting it, maybe it'll be good.
I think it has
potential to be good, and why not hope that it develops his character and turns out to be a satisfying adventure, you know?
I feel like there's a lot of freedom with what you could do with Boba Fett. You know, I don't know how much I know comics and books have been written about him, but I don't know how much of that is canon.
Right.
You know, I feel like I guess the only thing is, like, Mangold, he seems a bit of a, I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this before. He seems a bit of a too artistic choice for the franchise, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, because we've talked about it. I mean, Disney, they want to have someone that they can have a hand on and say, like, point in this direction. And, you know, I think it could work both ways. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Mangold went through and this movie had the same kind of problem as Solo. So
yeah, I
don't know.
I think he's a little bit more in the clear because he's not a comedic director.
Sure.
I can see why they would be. As much as I really wish
what else
Lord
has he
Miller's
done?
Movie, Logan, and then The Wolverine, and then like a movie about Johnny Cash.
Okay.
But I feel like the idea of Phil Lord and Chris Miller like making a mockery of Star Wars is far more offensive to Disney than James Mangold doing some sort of gritty, self-serious character drama.
Yeah, but the problem here is it's gonna be too gritty for Star Wars.
Right. Yeah.
Coming off Logan, he's gonna be like, let's make Boba Fett
shooting people in the head.
Exactly.
Incredible.
I mean, I dig it, but we're not gonna get it. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not opposed though. I like to see more of these. I think there's potential, especially after how well this one did, how well it turned out.
Why have they not just gone ahead and announced the Obi-Wan movie? That's the question.
That's the question. That,
you know?
like,
that's the only one that, like, universally everyone's like, yeah, I want that. Like,
yeah,
with Ewan McGregor, you know?
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So I feel like the best thing they could do now is
it's silently happening. Yeah. You know, I pray to God that they've just been working away for the past 2 years.
But I also pray that they will pace themselves and only do one of these a year, because need to maintain that hunger for
man, every other month for the rest of your life.
For sure.
No, but I think I like the whole system they got going with story episode, you know?
Yeah.
I think it'll be Han Solo, and of course we got episode 9 next. I think after that it'll be another story, maybe Boba, hopefully Kenobi, and then after that, hopefully they'll be kicking off Rian Johnson's trilogy, you know, and have those 3 episodes.
And then there's the whole Game of Thrones writers are doing a trilogy thing.
Oh yeah, well that'll probably kick off. Gee whiz.
I'm scared,
that can't work. That can't work.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Maybe we should direct a Star Wars
We're
trilogy,
getting it.
You know?
Why don't we hope it's good? You know?
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
the thing. We don't need any of this, but why don't we, for the sake of
course,
everyone,
why
hope
do you
that it
why
turns
do,
out
why do
well?
you need films anyway?
Right.
You know, you don't need any films, you know. You really don't. So, I've come to accept the fact that I'm going to be living and growing up in the time of remakes and reboots. You know? Like my parents and their grandparents were growing up in the time of original content like Blade Runner and Alien and all that good stuff. But now we're just...
Well, and there is plenty of original content now. But,
I mean, sure,
you know.
But we're getting a lot more reboots than them, so...
Yeah.
I mean, Predator, Blade Runner 2049. I mean, which I'm not against it, because, I mean, some of it's great, but...
Yeah.
So, I think I've just come to accept it, that I'm fine with these stories, you know?
Yeah. I don't even have an opinion, because I'm so lukewarm on it. But,
good.
You know... Why would you not? You know, people can spend their time getting mad about this stuff and be like, we don't need this. We don't want another reboot. And you're right, we don't. But we're getting it. So let's just hope it's good, you know, for the sake of everyone. So
it's all out of our hands. So, like, why say anything, you know?
Yeah. I feel like we've both been really pretty unenthusiastic this episode. We've been a little lukewarm, but yet both of us actually really liked the movie.
No, we did.
I've been really excited about it the past couple of days. I've really enjoyed it. So
it was a lot of fun. I'm wanting to see it again.
Yeah.
I think I'll hopefully go see it this week if I can fit it into my schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's a great summer blockbuster, you know. Go in expecting to have fun, you know. That's all I can say.
But that's not an excuse for, you know, it's fun, even if it's lazy and bad. Like,
well, it's
that's
not.
what critics say.
It's not lazy.
But I think it is a truly, for the most part, quality film.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I mean, it's not the best of the new Star Wars films. It's not brilliant thematically. The Last Jedi is a brilliant film thematically speaking. But I do think that it's a joy to watch, and especially as a Star Wars fan, I really, really enjoyed it. Not without its flaws,
100%.
but I had a great time. So that's my opinion.
2 cents on it.
Yep.
I second that. It's real fun. I'm interested to see how it'll stick with me, but as of now, it's growing on me more and more by the second. And gosh dang it, I hope we get that trilogy.
You know, there are a couple characters at the end of in Solo. You know, the like Marauders who are with the little girl.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis has a cameo. Did you notice that? That was fun.
Who's he?
He's the little person who plays Flitwick and
the
Goblin in Harry Potter.
Yeah,
and
I
he played
noticed
the little Ewok. He's had a cameo in every Star Wars movie since then.
Nice, that's good.
But he's in the Phantom Menace as himself, and so. In the visual guide for Solo, it says that's the same character from Phantom Menace to this.
Really?
And there are several other characters here and there who are in prequels who are in this, including there's one who's like the tan alien with like tubes coming out of his face and like a mask.
He's in Rogue One.
Yeah, he's in Rogue One, and it's the same character. So
yeah,
that's a fun connection. Again, they're not heavy-handed with this stuff, but there's some thought put into it, so that was cool.
Oh, for sure.
Anyway, that was just a little note I meant to tell you that I didn't.
I enjoy it, man.
Oh, good.
I enjoy it.
Good. I hope you do.
It's good.
Where can people find us on social media, Hitchcock?
On the socials.
Yeah.
Nerd_stream7.
Yep.
Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, all that jam.
Cool.
My voice is like depleting as we speak.
I know, I can feel it. And mine has
God.
as well, because I did a podcast with ATZ Show before this.
You're just talking all day, man.
A podcast which I was far more enthusiastic for. So
I bet.
But yeah, I am at Blockbusted Pod on Twitter and at Houston Productions 1 or that's YouTube. Yep, it's Houston Productions 1 on YouTube.
Oh man, you're real tired.
I know I am.
Real tired.
What even is this, guys? What even is this? I'm saying it twice because I didn't say it last week. Remember that, Hitchcock?
Oh yeah.
I forgot my catchphrase last week.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Anyway.
We forgot.
Say your catchphrase, Hitchcock.
#wing it.
Boom.
Wing it forever.
All right.
We are so dead right now.
We really are. We really are.
It's been a long
day. I may go watch a movie tonight or something. Who's to say?
Oh, 10 out of 10.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Later.